What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and we are basically back with another free-to-play BloxStrike gameplay, basically going for gold, but that's not going to be mostly the topic of today's video. I wanted to just talk about a lot of the issues that BloxStrike currently faces, at least for me, what the game currently faces, and the reasons why I'm going to turn down my game, by the way, just so I can kind of just talk. So I kind of want to use this video as kind of like a basis on what I feel as if we could kind of do to make the game, I guess, a bit better. The first thing that I really want to really talk about into in the hopes of making the game better is mostly just some basic stuff, and then also some accessibility things that I feel like also should just be generally inside of the game and to generally help people to kind of understand where to play the game. Let's kind of just start with some of the basic stuff before we kind of move on to a little bit of stuff that maybe people don't really perceive as an issue, but it's definitely an ongoing issue. First thing is for accessibility is key bindings for grenades. Damn, I need to warm up. Key bindings for grenades are so important because timing is everything. Every single piece of millisecond counts in this game, and whenever you have situations where generally you want to be able to use your utility is important because it makes or breaks rounds. Your aim can be really good, but if a good utility person plays around how it's essentially your playstyle is and completely shuts you down, then 100% you're not going to be able to let aim carry you alone. You know, as much as I would like to say like I'm a really good aimer and whatnot, and a lot of people are really good aimers, if someone gets shut down with utility, I promise you aim isn't going to be the full name of the game. I do think that hopefully that they'll probably do this in the future, but that's just simply just add a like, you know what I mean, e-binds for every individual grenade, because it'll be a lot more easier to play the game, I would say, and react to certain pushes and shut down pushes that normally you would be able to do with a utility that you buy slash, you know what I'm saying, buy slash obtain because of basic economy. That's just one really big issue for me, as I've always been someone that, you know, primarily uses utility when I can. But yeah, number two is kind of better optimization of weapons. A lot of weapons across the board just don't feel good, like the USP to the Glock single fire. Glock single fire normally isn't supposed to be as accurate, but it just feels very weird in this game, especially the USP. You kind of have to be like full stop and kind of pray that you get the shot. And I get that BloxStrike kind of has like a wider-ish hitbox, but that doesn't mean like the game is easier by that margin. It just makes things, if anything, it's quite the opposite. Since the game will be easier, that means a lot of experienced players are going to be used to the idea of the game being a certain way it is, and so you'll have a much more harder time, I would say, of not really adapting, but kind of just what's the word, kind of really like separating yourself from the group, since everyone else is able to do kind of the same thing, you know. But weapons across the board, even for the M4s and whatnot, doesn't really feel good. The only weapons that actually feel decent is the AK, and currently the sprays are just not, the spraying is not good in this game, period. Like, just, it's just not. You can't really spray transfer. You can get pretty lucky around it, but you can't do it at all, is what I'm saying. So a little bit more optimization of the weapons just to make them feel a little bit more consistent. I'm not saying that they have to be accurate beam machines or anything like that, because obviously that would make the, you know what I'm saying, that would make the game so much more easier, and we don't really want that. We kind of just want a little bit more consistency with these weapons. The third thing is mostly trade-ups, but I know that trade-ups are going to be coming, but I kind of feel as if, like, you know, a lot of other games have already done like trade-ups to some degree. I'm surprised that, you know, this game hasn't, but trade-ups is pretty much coming soon. I just wanted to tack on that and just say that I feel like that it's completely, you know what I'm saying, a misfire from them to kind of not have that, especially for players that are that don't really plan on like spending money, and they just want to trade up some of the items that maybe they gotten to other people and whatnot. It really just goes to show you that even a lot more people wants this feature and whatnot. The next thing I guess we can kind of talk about a little bit is ranked. Now I know ranked is coming, obviously it's coming, but what does this entail for cheaters? I'm not sure how they're going to be able to handle the cheaters. I don't think it'll be as heavy as like how CS2 is, but I do think that there will be a lot more, especially whenever there's an actual ranked mode in the game, that a lot of people are generally just going to cheat just to be able to show off their rank that they didn't really, I guess, technically deserve. And honestly, I've seen the anti-cheat ban like 2 people before, and I know a lot of people don't really think that that's enough compared to what they've seen. I haven't really seen that many cheaters play this game outside of playing Race It. When I play Race It, there is actual like legitimate like cheater motherfuckers, you know, like really bad cheaters. So and I don't really run into them a lot. I kind of just run into them like every once in a while, but I get really annoyed. So I do hope that they can tack on the cheating issue a lot more quicker, and kind of, you know, to be able to entail that, you know what I'm saying, quicker and resourceful. I don't think that all, you know what I'm saying, it'll be perfect, but I do think that it should be not only should it be a priority, it should be something that should be a main focus on until the game is in a more stable-ish area where, you know, the only people that'll probably pass by it is a lot of the DMA like wallers, but a lot of the blatant stuff for sure needs to be detected. The fourth thing I kind of really wanted to complain about, and I know this is going to sound a little controversial, but it's the bee hopping. If you're not really experienced with bee hopping or anything like that, I do think bee hopping is a great movement mechanic to kind of have like as like a skill gap, and I do think that there is a skill gap. The problem is when the skill gap is actually not even the skill gap, but when the actual, I guess, the feature of bunny hopping is broken. If I bunny hop here, right, like, sorry, my bad, if I kind of like bunny hop here, essentially, I've seen people, especially in Race It, pretty much abuse bunny hopping because you move so much more faster than your knife, which means that you're able to get to peaks faster than the normal time is intended in normal CS2 terms. In regular CS, you can bee hop, but you don't move as fast as your knife. You know, you kind of like cap your velocity with your knife, which is completely fine, and you can kind of just comfortably do it without really breaking the game by any means necessary. The bee hopping in this game pretty much breaks the speed and velocity because you move so fast across the map, and it sets up for a lot of times where people can kind of just abuse this and completely circle around the whole map on certain like clutches and just obliterate people. Hell, even just the idea of being able to, you know what I'm saying, move around the map fast as hell and then being able to get to a power position before that, you know, say it's in the timer. I do think that there should be some sort of mitigation on the idea of bee hopping. I don't think that bee hopping should stop. I just think that there should be a speed cap, the same speed or velocity as you should have with your knife out, because obviously, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't really bee hop without your knife. And if you did it with a gun, then you should be able to move at the same speed and rate of whenever, you know, you're using your gun for it. Just something that I've really saw and just really wanted to kind of tack on and just really say, because it's been annoying me to a degree, especially like when I play Race It. It's been annoying me because a lot of people rely on this, and it's just a very broken mechanic that just needs some sort of attention. Another thing that I feel as if that they should really work on is the sound design. Currently the sound it's decent. It's enough for you to figure out where someone is. It's enough for, you know, you can figure out where someone could be, or, you know what I'm saying, where someone could generally like kind of feel as if like in the general area where they are. The biggest problem with the sound design is it's not consistent. There's times where you won't be able to hear it, and like I said, with bee hopping, when you can silent bee hop, you cannot hear these people at all when they silent bee hop, which is low-key broken as shit. Like, you cannot hear them at all, and it's just a very busted thing. On top of the game of it already being like, you know what I'm saying, just how it is, sound is everything in CS. Honestly, it really is. Sound is everything. It really tells you where people can be, where they're, you know what I'm saying. It's information. It's passive information, if that makes sense, and it helps players understand it. It's a different thing to add onto the skill gap, is understanding the sound, and the sound is more inconsistent in this game than I don't think I've ever seen in like other games. Like, sound is just super like not reliable at times. Like, there's times where it is, but the majority of times it's just simply not, you know. Yeah, the sound just is just not good, and I hope that that's something that they can kind of just essentially work on in the future of BloxStrike. There's a lot of things that kind of needs to be, you know, fixed and whatnot, but you know, I mean, another small thing I kind of want to tag on is just kind of like the cases. Now, the cases, in my opinion, are pretty fair. The problem is the contents in them. Not too long ago, we just got the skeleton knife, and initially I was going to, you know what I'm saying, kind of like make a video or maybe unboxing. I might end up doing it though, but I hate the fact that they would make new knives, and the Lionheart is the only case that came with new finishes and a new knife. But the skeleton knife was the case that comes in that has the neutral knife finishes, which is kind of just a little bit disappointing. Like, if you think about it, like the Lionheart case and technically the winter, you know, case are the only cases outside of, I guess, like, well, not Chrysalis, but the only two cases outside of that where they have different finishes. And I do think that they can get more people to do different finishes and whatnot, but I think it was just kind of a last hack thing for them to add into the game, so that way people can be able to roll the skeleton knife and then be able to get those neutral finishes, so that way they can get their combos and whatnot. But I do hope in the future that they don't continue to just, you know, roll out new cases, new knives, but the same finishes. That's going to really kill the momentum of, you know, saying the skin economy, especially whenever trading comes out, because then people are just going to be looking for things that are just a little bit different and a little bit more, I guess, personal, not like personal to them, but kind of, you know, something that's different, if that makes sense. So the kind of last thing I really talk about is the peeker's advantage and the ping situation. If you are normally just playing not Counter-Strike, but if you're normally playing BloxStrike, you probably will not see this. If you play on your regular native ping, you won't see it as much, but this game has a really bad peeker's advantage. Essentially, what peeker's advantage is the first person mostly to swing an angle. It will be the first to see you on that same angle, which means it makes angle holding a little bit pointless. It makes it to where it's a lot more harder to do, and at that point it is strictly reaction timing and reaction based. Like for that right there, that was a peeker advantage peek, and it wasn't from my advantage, it was from him. He was able to see me as I swung out, and he already was pre-ready to counter strafe, which is good on him because he saw that and was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna just, you know what I'm saying, like kind of peeker's advantage holes that I just fucked up on that one right there. Yeah, this becomes a really big issue as you go into the higher pings, and a lot of people say that playing on higher ping is a lot more broken because you can abuse peeker's advantage, and I do believe that to an extent. But I've always been saying before that lower ping will always be king because you will be able to see players a lot more quicker. So if someone's holding you or anything like that, you'll see them as you're swinging. But peeker's advantage is really broken, and that's more of a Roblox thing because Roblox technically, you know, they have the servers for everyone else to have and host. So currently right now the servers aren't really at the best that they can really be, so we kind of just have to deal, you know what I'm saying, with it. I feel like when I play other games, the servers aren't really as bad for shooter games, which is a little weird, and I just think that currently BloxStrike is in a spot where they can kind of fix this, but they're just like, well, it's mostly Roblox side, because I don't really get that when it comes to counterblocks. I could be wrong about that entirely. Like, I could be 100% wrong about that entirely, and I could just be you know, kind of yamming it up. But I mean this when I say, like, in the most sincere way, that I feel like I get the worst type of peeker's advantages and just like the sheer amount of just unlucky situations that happen because of it. And like I said, when you play on higher ping, it is genuinely unplayable, and the peeker's advantage is so bad that honestly, in my opinion, in like, you know, kind of like competitive play, it is a little bit basic, you know, like basically just unplayable, in my opinion. You can't hold angles. You kind of have to hold off angles and pray. You can't really, you know what I'm saying, challenge someone on a full swing unless you're completely dedicated to that swing and you know that you're gonna hit that shot, because if someone's on a lower ping and understands the peeker's advantage, they're just gonna win. I know this is kind of something that is convoluted that I just generally can't really get out of, you know what I'm saying, and kind of show you a demonstration of. as I feel like there's times where I have already showed you in, you know what I'm saying, in the gameplay, as you're seeing in the background, that it's prevalent and it's really real. Hell, there's times where there's in single angles that you won't see someone at all, but they see you. So you really have a question mark of where the fuck did you die from. Also, another thing, speaking of, you know, question mark where you die from, I feel like there needs to be a death camera. I do think that they should bring like some sort of death camera, like, and show exactly where, kind of like how CSGO does whenever you die and it zooms into the person of where their location is. It should generally kind of do that to give you an example of where that person killed you, so it's easier for calming, it's easier for call outs, so that way you're not just sitting there and your screen just goes gray and you're just like, oh well, I don't really know exactly where I got shot from, unless you know the angle that you swung and where that you engaged from. And that's what just makes, it's just going to make call outs a lot more easier to deal with, and it's just going to make the game a lot more you know, a lot more playable and enjoyable. So there's a lot that I could really tack on into this game and just kind of like make it a lot more better for everyone. And I've heard about this game being vibe coded, basically, you know, made with AI. And I don't really have a problem of games being made with AI. The problem is basically being able to have fixes out for these games and being able to understand where the game is currently in the position of, you know what I'm saying, if you're going to make a competitive shooter, then the game has to feel the most responsive that it can. You cannot roll out something that doesn't really feel the best for everyone else's, you know, experience. And I just feel like as if BloxStrike is the best feeling CS clone on Roblox in a long time that I've ever played, but in a high but, it is the worst feeling to play and just all of, like, you know what I'm saying, like the CS clones to begin with. Like, there are so many other CS clones that feel much better, that reward you much more with ping, and the peeker's advantage isn't as heavy as you think they are. So I think that's really all I really wanted to kind of get out and kind of say, and just kind of like to get, you know, BloxStrike to kind of really feel better and whatnot. And let me know what you think, because I just feel like right now, like, I enjoy BloxStrike and I'm going to enjoy making a lot more content for this game. But currently right now, it's just kind of hard to kind of, you know, take it a little bit seriously when there's so many issues that kind of plagued the game. And I don't expect them to be done within a literal like nanosecond, but just something that they can kind of acknowledge and basically, you know, show for that they can see that these are problems and that they're open to fixing them as time goes on. So yeah, I think what I'm just going to do for the remaining of the 2 minutes is just lock in, so that way we can get these challenges done here. All right, I got a couple more. Well, by a couple I mean I just dropped like 104, so I'm pretty sure we just got done with some of our missions here. So I'm just gonna go check everything else. And currently we have about 3 cases, which is good. We're gonna buy 3 of the Apex cases, and let's see if we can get a gold. Blue there. Any chance is a gold chance. Blue there. And another blue there. Whoa, that's unfortunate. I mean, we only get three blues there, but that is completely okay. We still have a bunch of missions to go on through, but I just want to cut it here short, and we'll just resume the next episode. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, as always, peace.